perceptions and what you saw in terms of what happened with Tucker?
Yeah. No, we're running triple slant concept, and they're in man coverage, and I'm trying to work Wicks right there, number 2, and the safety that was guarding Tucker, fell off that, passed it off, and got in the window right there, and I didn't even see him. So, it was a really tough play, especially in the circumstances of the timing of the game right there. So, one we're just gonna have to learn from, move on.
Is that an automatic throw, like boom, boom, throw it, or what other options would you have had there?
No, it's a quick game. So, it's just taking that left-right footwork and throwing it. Obviously, I'm trying to get it out, but it's one of those you gotta be able to see him falling off. He did a great job making a play. I didn't see him, but something I've seen before. I gotta find a way to see him.
Did you feel, was there pressure on that? Like, did they bring in extra guys? Or?
No, I think it was just 4-man rush, so I'm not sure. One of those ones I got to look at in film. But no, it's just one of those plays that, I got to feel him falling off.
How difficult was it to get anything going on the ground or in the air today?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It was tough. I think give them credit. They're a really good defense. I will say that. They do a lot of really good things, but I think the tough part for us is I feel like we're hurting ourselves more than anything with some of the penalties and just the little things. I feel like we were putting some good drives together, but at the end of the day, I feel like we just hurt ourselves a little too much. But like I said, give them credit. They're a good defense. We got to find ways to be able to go out there and take advantage of what they're doing.
It seems like teams are crowding it so far. 3 games have been crowding the line of scrimmage quite a bit. What do you have to do to make them pay a stiffer price for that?
Yeah, that's when you got to hit shots down the field. But I think, looking at Cleveland's defense, that's their MO. That's what they want to do. They want to put extra hats in the box and stop the run, and force you to pass it. And they're going to play man and do different things and try and let the rush win. So we know that coming into the game, and that's what we're going to have to beat.
Jordan, in the, I think it was one that Denzel Ward tipped to, I think it was an out to Wicks. So right before that, you have a false start, and so it's 3rd and 9 instead of 3rd and 4. Is that the same play you would have done, or 3rd and 4 you probably done something different? And how did Ward play that?
Yeah, it was the same play we were running on the play before. There in man coverage, he was rolling across with Wicks, and he did a good job. I think staying inside and just driving on that outbreaker. Obviously wish I would have been able to, just get it out quicker, put it out a little bit more, but he made a great play right there. But, that's one of those things where, crucial penalty right there that just moves us back, something that's an area we're going to have to clean up.
Jordan, was that about as much shuffling in the offensive line and moving on the fly as you've seen in a while that you can remember? And if so, what's the challenge now?
Yeah, there was definitely, things that happened, Zach getting injured right there, Banks going out. So we were shuffling guys around, but, I think the first 2 games, that's kind of how it's been. Guys have shuffled in and done some good things. So it's one of those things. It's that next man up mentality. Everybody that suits up, be ready to play. And, I think those guys did a good job coming in on those short notice plays, but, it's tough.
What's your thinking leaving this game? You guys, I know it's early, but you came in riding pretty high. Parsons in, you win your first 2 games, playing an 0-2 team, and you put up a poor performance, especially on offense. What do you think coming out of this?
Man, it's tough. It's a tough loss for sure. I think any loss is a tough loss. I think, like I said, there's a lot of stuff to clean up and improve on going forward. But it's one of those things, adversity hit. It's going to hit at some point, hit early on right now, and we're just going to have to do a great job of moving on, finding ways to clean up the areas that we need to clean up and move on to next week. It's a long season. It's the NFL. We know what it is. But it's definitely a tough loss, something that we're just going to have to grow from and move on and bounce back. But, adversity is going to strike at some point in the season, and it, struck today.
There was a lot of hype how the first 2 games flew for you guys surrounding this team coming into today. Do you feel like internally you guys might have bought into that maybe a little too much?
Not at all. Not at all. I think we know what we are. We're a good team. We're still a good team. Like I said, this is a tough loss, but it's one we're just going to have to move on from, grow from, and obviously move on to next week.
Is there a feeling of kind of just stunned where you're 30 seconds left there, you're going to the field goal, then all of a sudden they're coming down the other way? Just kind of over that overall, the 4th quarter, is a feeling of just like we were up, and then all of a sudden feel like you're walking out of the loss?
Very tough, very tough. I feel like just the whole fourth quarter, the way it went, obviously just wasn't good enough. Offensively, we weren't able to put a drive together, put up points, had a turnover. And then obviously, like you said, going to, kick a go-ahead field goal gets blocked. So it's tough. And obviously they go up and kick the game-winning field goal. And that's why I said it feels a very tough loss and one of those games that, we let them, get it at the end. We had it. We just got to find ways to finish.
And we had some success on those bootleg runs that we had. Do you think you could have worked that a little more where they're constantly going for that fake and pressing hard?
Maybe. We'll look at it. There was definitely, some good plays made on some of those, but, it's just got to look at it and figure out what areas we need to keep calling and keep not calling. But, who knows? It's kind of the hindsight looking back on it, but it's something that we'll look at and figure out going forward.
Where you see John Fitzpatrick working, grinding it out day in and day out, how happy are you to see him pitch his first touchdown in his NFL career?
It was awesome. I think for a guy like that who's just, like you said, been grinding, doing things the right way, and obviously, hasn't had too many ops to catch the ball, and he's been a great blocker for us. But, when those ops come, he made a big-time play right there, and, happy for him.
Matt said the interception play was a bad play call. I'm sure you wouldn't agree with that, but was there any conversation before a snap to run it and just play field position and maybe punt, or was that the only call that you guys talked about before snap?
No, I mean, that was the call that came into the huddle. We don't have time to, sit there and obviously talk about different things on the field right there. But like I said, it's another play that is hindsight. You look back on it, obviously the interception happened, but who knows? I like the coverage that they ran versus it. And like I said, they made a really good job, that safety falling off right there. If they don't fall off, I think we get a completion right there, move the sticks, and we'll be talking about it's a great call. So it's one of those things, it's hindsight. Got to figure out how to just move forward from it and grow from it.
Two more. Jordan, I don't know if you remember, in the first half, you got hit in a sack. You stepped up in the pocket, looked like you were looking downfield, like you had something, and then all of a sudden someone hit you from the side. Did you have something there? Do you recall whether there was someone open deep on that play?
I can't recall exactly what play you're talking about on that one. But there was a couple, plays where, the rush just got home before some of the concepts were able to develop. So, it's tough. Defense, they get paid as well. So they did a good job on those ones.
How's your thumb, and do you know how many more weeks you're going to be wrapped? Is that still a few more weeks, you think? Or?
Yeah, it'll probably be a few more weeks. I'm not sure specifically, but it's feeling good. But, it's one of those things you just want to keep protecting it as much as possible and just keep going.